When I started high school, I transferred from one private school to another across town. I didn't know anyone and felt pretty alone. I wasn't making friends quickly, and it was a tough adjustment. One day, I walked into my homeroom class and saw this absolutely stunning girl across the room. She had this auburn hair that was impossible not to admire. The teacher started assigning seats, and sure enough, he placed her right next to me. I was an awkward kid with no hope of ever saying more than a word to her. But homeroom was a 15-minute period filled with announcements and socializing, and it took her all of 30 seconds to introduce herself to me. Every day, I looked forward to that small window of time, just sitting and talking with this bright-eyed beauty. She was my first real crush, and it quickly became clear the feeling was mutual. Most days, she'd grab my hand as soon as I sat down and write flirty little notes on it. I loved every second of it. Before I knew it, homecoming was approaching. I had never been to a dance like that, let alone asked a girl to one. But I made up my mind. I was going to take this girl. Every day I walked into homeroom determined to ask her. And every day I chickened out. Then one day she asked me who I was going with. I said I didn't know yet and asked her the same. She told me about some other guy who had asked her that morning. I felt completely defeated, but I figured it was a lesson learned. A mistake I'd never make again. That date turned into another, and soon she was in a relationship. She spent the rest of the year dating that guy. The following year, my dad was laid off, and I had to transfer to public school. Strangely enough, I did much better there. I made friends on my first day, and even had a few girls interested in me. Maybe I had grown into myself a bit. Even though I had moved, I still had friends at my old school, so I went to their homecoming dance the next year, and there she was. My heart stopped when I saw her. She ran up to me, gave me a big hug, and we spent a good part of the night dancing together. She was single again and had come to the dance alone. I wasn't sure what to make of it, but I knew I had to get her number or find a way to see her again. Toward the end of the night, she went off to talk to some friends, and I went to talk to mine. When I turned around, she was gone. A few weeks later, a friend told me she had asked about me. But by then, one of the girls chasing me had caught me, and I ended up in a relationship that lasted 2 years. 3 years later, I was in college, single again, and driving down the freeway during a snowstorm. Suddenly, a car spun out in front of me, flipping into a ditch. I pulled over, ran to check on the driver, and called for help. As I approached the car, I saw bright auburn hair draped over the steering wheel. It was her. Since this is a heartbreaking story, you might think you know where this is going, but you'd be wrong. She came to as soon as I reached her. She had a concussion, some bumps and bruises, but she was mostly okay. I helped her out of the car, and we sat in mine while waiting for the ambulance. We talked a little, but she was still in a daze. Then the paramedics arrived, and before I knew it, they were taking her away. I stood there in the snow alone, telling the state trooper what had happened. I didn't see her again for 2 years. This time it was in a grocery store. I noticed her immediately, but so did the enormous diamond on her finger. For whatever reason, I didn't say anything to her. Years later, we ran into each other one last time. This time, we both had babies in our arms. Nothing ever happened between us. It wasn't a tragic ending, but it was a story of fate constantly pushing two people together, only for circumstance to pull them apart. I don't regret where my life has taken me, but I'll always wonder what might have happened if I had just mustered the courage to ask her to that dance. I engaged in a long-distance relationship when I was 15. Though several states away, we managed to talk several times a day, every day. Her name was Sarah, and she was the first girl I ever told, "I love you." through countless phone cards and several months. I remember making a big deal of our 6th month. We would talk for hours at a time, just laughing at the stupid stuff we would say. One day, the inevitable happened, and Sarah broke up with me. She cited several vague reasons, and I finally asked if there was someone else. She said there was, which I found comforting. At least there was someone to be there with her like I couldn't. Heartbroken but consoled, I told her she was welcome to call me anytime she wanted. 2 months, and as many conversations with her later, she called me. I'll always remember it. My family and I were eating dinner, and my mom answered the phone. She looked at me and said, "It's Sarah." I was a little shocked and excused myself from the table. I ran around the house to find a cordless phone that worked and took it upstairs. I hadn't spoken to her in at least a month and was anxious to hear what she had to say. When I picked up and my mom hung up on the other end, I could hear that she was crying. She told me that she was in the final stages of her battle with leukemia. There was no other boy, she told me. She had only wanted to spare me the experience of losing her. She explained very little, just that she wanted to talk to me again and say goodbye. After hanging up the phone, I just sat there and cried. I'm 24 now, and I still have trouble dealing with this. I have no idea what actually happened, because I couldn't get a hold of anyone at the number or the address. It's possible that she was just trying to sever contact with me by feigning a terminal illness. Sounds like a bad sitcom now that I say it. But to 15-year-old me, she died in a bed, and I couldn't be there for her. My imagination was consumed with the feeling of loss. To this day, I can't watch A Walk to Remember. Fuck that shit. It's 6 in the morning and I've just gotten off work 2 hours prior. I've had a couple of beers, and under any other circumstances I wouldn't have shared this story. For some reason I thought it would be therapeutic. It wasn't really. When I was 14, I fell in love with my best friend Amanda. We were together 24/7. We were adorable. We'd never leave each other's side. A few years passed, and we got a call that her mother had overdosed and passed away. We were 16, and my parents let her stay with us. We planned out our entire life together. We were going to move when we were 18, get married, and have kids. We were going to be together forever. Well, that did not happen. It was the day after her 18th birthday. I got a nice room at a hotel in Reno and figured we could walk around and see everything. We were from a small town. My mom decided that we could take her car, and we started the long drive. About 3 hours into the drive, I got rear-ended on the freeway. The car spun out sideways, and the front driver's side slammed into a ditch, causing the car to completely flip. I didn't have a seatbelt on and went out the back passenger window. I woke up. There was dust everywhere. I didn't see her. I looked back and saw the car upside down, the tires still spinning. I ran over and crawled back into the car, trying to get her to wake up. There was blood and broken glass everywhere. I can still smell and taste the dust of the airbag and the blood in my mouth. She never moved. I laid there by her side until I passed out. I woke back up in the hospital with everyone around me. They kept having to push me down and tell me not to move. I had to find her. I had to know she was okay. No one would answer me. They told me to stay calm, that I had fractured my skull and needed to be still. They gave me a shot and I was out. 4 days later, I woke up. I could barely move. That's when my parents came in and told me she had died right then and there in the car. The first response team told my parents that I had been found inside the car, holding her hand. I have prayed every night since then, 3 years ago, but it feels like yesterday, for God to give her back to me. To this day, I know that it wasn't my fault, but I still can't come to terms with it. I lost more than a girlfriend that day. I lost part of my own life along with her. But every story must come to an end, for now. My dear listener, thank you for allowing me to take you on this journey of passion, temptation, and forbidden desire. But tell me, did this story awaken something in you? Did it stir your soul? Or perhaps something deeper? If you enjoyed this tale, do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a single whispered secret of love and longing. And if you, yes, you, have a story of passion, of romance, of love that defied the odds, send it to us. Perhaps your story will be the next one I bring to life. Send your stories to lovetalsunfold@gmail.com. Until next time, keep your desires close, your secrets closer, and never, ever deny yourself the pleasure of a forbidden story.